Hey, everybody. Sorry we're starting just a tad bit late. I think I'll probably start scheduling these for maybe like 15 after. Um,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah, which, which
give
I
us some
kind
wiggle room.
of I meant to do it, and when I scheduled it, I forgot to do it. Um, but this is the Wednesday night mouse party. Uh, just time to kind of hang out, have some fun, chit chat. Nothing too serious, hopefully. Um, and we're just kind of figuring out how we want to do this.
You brought beer, right?
For afterward.
Okay.
Um, but so if there's anything anybody wants to talk about, throw it out and chat. We can chit chat about it, or just kind of play it by ear, and then as time goes by, we'll kind of shape this so um, everything will run smooth and be fun. But
Yeah.
out in the chat, we had Seven Wonders. You probably went to bed because he's over on the right side of the country. And
Yeah, I haven't seen him in the chat before, I don't think. We're too late for him.
Yeah.
The 1 a.m. Pacific time, 4 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, the overnights it's kind of a god awful hour that not a lot of people can make, which I understand.
It's the only time slot they would give us.
As if it's your business. Um, who's out there? DJ Play Nice, who was on the tactical quiz, won the tactical quiz tonight. The first tactical quiz that G Webs was running. In my defense, I lost, but I am also very untactical. So Ozzy Orsbarn is barking at the moon. Gunpowder Beauty. Good evening. S.A. Hinchcliffe. Good evening, Sharon. Guns and BB Quoo.
What?
BB Quoo. But how's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I got a full 6 hours of sleep.
Finally.
Fine. Yeah, no shit. It got interesting.
Yeah, I had after I got off work. I got off work at 6 in the morning, and then I had to do CPR, first aid training for work, and at 8, and that went till 1.
Imagine being up for 51 hours and then
No.
somebody asks you your opinion on Russia and what should be done. Not sure I stand by my statements on that night.
Well, you didn't say anything outrageous, so
That's good. I could have.
yeah, no, I've
That
been
was a
there,
gamble. Whoever asked that, I forgot who, but that was a gamble.
but glad you made it through. Menno Tupperware is saying he found out earlier that Nebraska will most likely see constitutional carry by 420, or at least get a vote on it. They have to run it through a ton of stuff from last year's Senate bill. Good.
Odd date to pick.
Nice. I don't know. I don't smoke weed, so.
Well, I was talking about Hitler's birthday, but
Well,
you have a point.
I didn't recall Hitler's birthday. Is that?
It's the same day. That's why whenever somebody asks you if you're celebrating 420, I say, no, I'm not a Nazi. It's an inside joke.
Gunpowder
Just be
Beauty.
clear, I'm not a Nazi.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Gunpowder Beauty drank some coffee, so she's going to be up all night. Oh. One thing I wasn't sure is should it just be the two of us chit chatting, or should I throw out links?
That is up to you.
Oh.
Party of two so far.
Yeah, this wasn't a very well thought out show.
We thought this out.
Well, we thought of doing a show, doing a chat.
I did invite one person, but they are sleeping.
So I don't know.
I do have a topic.
Sure, go ahead. What do you got going there?
Let's say you have we'll say relative that is cognitively impaired and not safe to have guns with anymore. How do you go about making sure they don't do anything dumb in their elder years? Like they forget where they live. Bad. That type.
Well, there is a process to do that. You can go to court. Basically, kind of.
You have to have them declared incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, that would be. I've never had to do it. I heard somebody else talk about having to do it, and that would be tough.
You would have to have all you, if you're doing this to a parent, you'd have to have all the siblings on board, or one of you is getting screwed when they do that.
Yeah, it's because I just dealing with family. Depending on how what your family dynamic is, that can be tough.
Oh yeah.
Because like when my mom died, I ended up with power of attorney, so I had to take care of all her affairs and stuff, and had one sibling that was kind of always been a pain in the ass, but so dealing with family can be tough sometimes.
Yeah. I picked a good fun topic, didn't I? It's a hell of a party. Let's talk about cognitive decline.
Yeah, let me let Guns and BBQ. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm just sending out some invites because I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing.
Nice. Yeah,
I have a question for the panel and the people out there on YouTube land. What is the best grain weight for a 30-06? 150 or 180?
Right now, whatever you can get.
Oh yeah.
That's what I have. I couldn't even tell you what the grain weights are. They were what I could get that was under $3 a round.
So the 150 is like 200 feet per second faster, but it has less energy.
So I guess it depends on some of the things that you want to consider. Like when I went to school for gunsmithing, one of the things that they talked about was when you do select those higher grain weights, one of the things that you're going to do if you're shooting that rifle a lot is end up wearing out the head spacing.
Oh, really?
Quicker, yes. Now, how much quicker? I'm not sure. We never got that into it, but that was one thing that's because that round's going to be burning a little hotter, things like that, from what I understand, and it would end up wearing out the head spacing quicker. But like I said, how much quicker? I don't know. And if it's just your hunting rifle, are you really putting that many rounds through it? Because I'm assuming it's a hunting rifle since you're going with a 30-06, not a 308.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well, maybe it's a bar. Well,
But
Well,
now you also have the option to go intermediate there and go with a 165 grain.
Yeah, that's true. Would a bar run on 180s?
I'd love to have
BAR?
a bar. I don't know.
I've heard they're kind of finicky.
If we can ever have full autos without, going through all the government hoops that we have to, I would love to have a bar.
Yeah, if you buy a semi-automatic BAR, you have brain damage. You should have just bought
Oh.
a Garand or something.
Well, shoot, I should just go buy a bar. Then I already have brain
Those
damage.
things
Which is
weigh
great.
like 20 pounds, don't they?
I don't know how much they weigh, but they're pretty obnoxious.
They're chunky. I like this question. Did gun websites not get a link?
he has one.
Oh, he's just too cool for this party.
Well, no, I sent it after he said that. So
Oh,
I've been working on sending out some links there.
I thought about it
You
since
send
I was
them
just
all
sitting
out
in here all by
individual?
myself, and I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't send out all at once, just in case, because then everybody can see everybody's email addresses.
"Oh,
Yeah.
you mean you're
Send
not
them
an
as a-
idiot?"
Blind carbon copy. I used to do it all the time. I just went to the to section and put in like 40 people's emails. And I'm like, oh, you
You're
just
like-
do this blind carbon copy thing that says BCC, and
Yeah.
it doesn't show any. Wow, I'm really sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
And then you
so
piss somebody off on the panel, and they have your email. They're sign you up for junk mail. No one would ever do that, Ryan.
But so I sent out some invites to check your emails. Come on in, have some fun.
We could be real brave. We could just put the link in the chat.
I'm not that brave yet. I'm a control freak.
I don't blame you.
What's the worst that could happen? It's a party. Come on.
See somebody's mouse.
I've seen those. They don't scare me.
Well, no, it'll just get your channel shut down. Oh, hey, why don't I do? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Let's get going here. That. So, if you have any comments, suggestions, or Gorn, you can send them to untacticalfoss@gmail.com. Scrolling down at the bottom, if you can see the bottom.
Oh, I will say we missed you today, Foss. I really hope that CPR class was fun and exciting. Do you guys do AED as well, or just
They did. We did.
Yeah.
It was good. I was certified. God, it had to be like 12. No, longer than that. Probably 14 years ago. So mine was well out because they're only good for 2 years.
Yep.
CPR?
So we did it again, and
You're talking CPR or the AED?
yeah, we did CPR, first aid, and AED class.
Yeah.
So your
Reg-
CPR, you were still using mouth to mouth?
They went back to mouth again. So 30
Red
and
Cross
2.
Did?
was Red Cross.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it was a Red Cross trainer.
Like,
So-
as I was saying, like back in the day, you had still done mouth to mouth, but I guess you're saying they went back to it again.
yeah.
I don't think Red Cross ever left that method.
What-
I think
think they
American
did.
Heart Association is
Well, I
the
mean,
one
it's
who.
not like I think for regular first response, for like somebody who's just like, I need to take a class, they're like, there's no mouth. But like for a nurse or somebody, they would use a mouth.
Yeah, because I remember it went 3-1, 3 compressions, 1 breath, 5-1, then 15-1, and then 15 with no breath, and now it's 30 with 2 breaths.
Oh, really?
By default, I try to think through it, and I've had to do those trainings to pass for previous certifications. And I go back to Annie, are you okay? And learning that stuff in high school at an 8-to-1 ratio. I'm not sure I can shake out of that.
I just sing BG Staying Alive and make sure that I'm getting enough pumps in a minute.
I just have good rhythm.
I keep
1,
going till
2,
I hear
3, 4,
cracking
5.
from the rib cage.
But
You
That's
crack
my
rib.
strategy.
Have you guys ever done CPR on anybody?
Once,
no.
Just dummy.
I've done it on humans with when I was doing ride-alongs for EMT school. You do ride-alongs, and I had done ride-alongs for other school. So I was like, "Oh, we get to do ride-alongs," and they were like, "You have to do 3." So I was like, "How many can I do? Like, when will you kick me out of the ambulance?" Right. So I took a bunch, and one of them, and I took them at different hospitals because that's half the fun. Like whatever hospital you're going to go to, fancy snooty hospital is different than a hospital that's really doing stuff constantly, like an emergency hospital. So anyway, during one of the ride-alongs, you break ribs. Let's put it that way. I've actually done CPR a couple of times. You break ribs, broke ribs.
yeah,
more
I
often.
wasn't joking when I said that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to compress the heart muscle, I mean, you're going to have to break stuff to really,
Especially on older
that.
people.
And it's on old people and people that are not strong, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the trainer said, that it's normal to hear cracking and tearing. Just keep going.
Yeah, they're going to die if you don't.
Oh, you
so-
wouldn't know. I was just like doing it in the hospital emergency room as an EMT student with 1 million people around, and they're like, "Oh, you just broke ribs," but I wouldn't have known. Like I didn't even think I heard anything. But they're like,
Well,
"Oh, this broke."
even still, if you're to the point where you're doing chest compressions, 80% chance they're not making it anyways.
I wouldn't say that the other way around. I think.
No,
I mean, I don't know who. I guess I was in an emergency room. In an emergency room, most of those people live.
Oh, yeah.
You start doing chest compressions before you get the machines on them.
when I had to do all those certifications again because none of I've taken the Red Cross training multiple times, but when I did that as a corrections officer, so maybe it was just at the jail. Hey, this is the statistics. If you're doing chest compressions at a facility like this, and we're waiting on an ambulance, all that fun jazz, to get here, this is what it's going to be for a death rate, and that was 80%. So it could have been very just that's what it is for institutions like that waiting.
Let me get there we go. So we got Wesley Foster out there. What's your favorite range bag? Mine is this one, who I don't remember where I bought it or don't have a clue who makes it. But I can fit a lot of guns, a lot of handguns in here. Nothing special, but it carries what I need it to carry. Do you guys have super special bags that you have? Telos. Good
I've got
evening.
The cab of my truck.
Gunmetal guy. Mario
I've got
Mosen.
one that I picked up from Walmart years ago, and I absolutely love it. It is freaking awesome. Which I
got
mean,
mine.
by Walmart standard, it was pretty expensive. I mean, I think it was a $65 bag when I bought it, and that was, I bet you, almost 10 years ago. It's been a while. So I was young and dumb and had trouble pulling the trigger on that one, but I'm really glad I did. It's a pretty awesome bag.
Let me say hey to Bernie Sanchez. Good evening.
What did barbecue say? I was going to get in mine.
He said he loves 9mm. He outed
being thrown
himself.
into campfires. Don't do that. Well, it's not really going to hurt anybody that bad. It's not.
Does anyone on the panel like 9mm?
DJ?
That'd be me.
Told you.
Admitted. Self-admitted. Yep. Odd man out.
What range?
I don't remember the name of my range bag. Mine, I have to go grab it, and then I'm not even sure if I'll be able to read the tag on it now. But it's one that Walmart used to sell like almost 10 years ago. Which, I mean, like I said, by Walmart standards, it was pretty expensive. It was like a $65 bag 10 years ago, at Walmart. So I ended up getting it, and it just is awesome.
Mine's kind of it's just a tactical backpack that I picked up at a gun show. Not branded, heavy zippers, lots of pockets on it, and that replaced actually a mechanic's tool bag and a USGI issue one. Just needed some more pockets and some more space, so I went a little bit fancier. It's held up nicely. Wish I could tell you more.
So here's this range bag that's been to quite a few ranges, and it is Eagle, back when Eagle was made in USA. St. Louis, Missouri. And this is like your, I want to say 2000s, like standard range bag situation, I think, for a lot of people. All USA, very compliant. So that means the material's made in USA, sewn in the USA, USA designs. On the outside, I have this amp probe because it's high vis bag, lighter in there. Stupid range flag. Do I have anything in here? You want me to go through it, or is this wasting time?
Oh, go ahead and go through it. What you got in the bag?
I haven't been through this thing in a long time. So this is Quick Tools, a Right in the Rain yellow book, or whatever you want to call it, Right in the Rain notepad. Some index cards, handy for lots of things, in green and red. Some 550, some markers, some batteries, and then chapstick. I don't know if y'all have to deal with chapstick and sunscreen as much as we do, but having that handy. And then this outside one, I turned an old Ruger thing into a first aid kit by gutting it, cutting out with a whatever, something blade, cut out all of, what's that called? Foam or no, injection molded type of thing. And then these are basically just bandages. This one's stuff for shock, chest, and this is mostly just different old bandages, kind of vacuum sealed, but an assortment of clean bandages. And I keep that thing hard so it can get beaten up and not hurt. This stuff is old and it's still in decent shape because it's hard, and then red so that it can be seen. Because that's a hard thing in a soft bag, I put all my shooting seeds next to it, and you'll notice that, oh wow, this guy shoots a lot of shooting seeds. No, this guy goes in the trash and grabs all the free shooting seeds from the dinguses who shoot the center out of it and then leave all these 4 shooting seeds behind.
Smart.
Right?
Yep.
I never buy these things. I just do this. And then you can take the edges. This yellow stuff isn't shooting seed, or is it? No, I think it's just high vis. But anyway, you can do some stuff with just this stuff. So, and you can see having it next to this hard thing keeps them from scratching each other off. You can issue with shooting seeds if you let them rub against each other. They're worthless, right? Actually, these are probably from SHOT Show because you get samples and stuff. So this kind of stuff is samples from SHOT Show or something. So that's targets and first aid on the outside, nothing else. So that it's quick. These kind have this like dual zipper. I don't know, just I guess so that you have a bigger opening and then they're attached just so that you don't have to do 2 zippers at the same time.
Yeah, that's the way mine is.
And then this side Velcros, which is handy. You can put a lock through these 3, right? The zippers and then that ring. And then it makes it so that you can only really get an arm or something in there if you really tried. But mainly this is handy. So if it's raining, this effectively waterproofs it. Water resistance is it. I've got a ITW. What do they call these things? These G-locks or something, which are made in USA. The company that invented the 6-pack makes these things and these things. So these are plastics, very compliant. The material and the design and everything originates in the USA. Really cool company out of Chicago area. Actually, they're all over the country now. And then the inside is this little pouchy thing. What do you call this? Like inner, what do you call this kind of thing? So you can take that out, and that's handy because I really like having an empty bag with me for brass and for other junk. So I don't like to throw brass in here because it stays nice, because I'll take like a shopping bag, like the free shopping bags that you get when you're buying groceries and stuff. And I'll have a bunch of those and then put the brass into that and put that in here. You can put it under there or just have 2 bags if you need all this. You know, if this thing is packed with all your stuff, this effectively gives you a second extra bag, or it gives you a place underneath. So what do I got? A glove in here, and then that rod is falling apart, and then just little bits, BBs and stuff. And then this guy is like a little, what do you call this? Like a little tote that comes out of there. It's got stuff on the sides, and I think it had padding in it, but I'll just shove my guns in the side here without the padding so you can get more guns into it. But the idea is that you shove your pistols into the side, and that puts them in a place. You can put 3 or 4 pistols down each side, and then all your ammo in the center here. So I got the Otis multi-caliber kit. It's basically an issue kit, 5.56, 7.62, 9, 45, and 12 gauge in the size of whatever this is, a hamburger. And you get a flexible rod is in here. So this is a flexible rod. And then I got my aim point batteries and stuff in there. These are patches. You got all your adapters and stuff to do 12 gauge. So it uses the same rod for everything. And then all your bits and whatnot are in this foam cutout, and they're attached to the whole little hockey puck thing. You got your cleaners and a couple other brushes that are in these things so that the brushes don't get destroyed. Their gook doesn't get all over everything, all that lead and stuff. You can see I don't really use this. These are not inexpensive kits, so I have it as like a spare if I really need it, but I don't use it. This is an Eagle tote that you get free at SHOT Show kind of thing in awesome 3-color. Notice this whole thing is an awesome 3-color desert. So this is the matching Eagle tote that I got at SHOT Show, and it just happens to match up with it. So I use that for brass and stuff ideally, but you can see I really don't use it too much. But again, just the idea of having an extra bag. If you go to the range and somebody's like, I don't want all this brass, or I'm sick of these pistols, I don't want them anymore. It's nice to have a bag to put them in. There's 50 cents and some, we saved a couple of World Wars there, I guess. Get these side things, got some markers. Little tool, Glock tool. That's all you need to fix a Glock because they never break. AR rod from an M16 kit, or I guess an M16 kit, I should say, and one of these little deals, which is super handy. So it turns all your regular brushes into those wire brushes. It's a piece of plastic, but it can screw the things on the end. These are super handy to have around. Usually I got extra ear pro in here, stuff for people that don't show up with ears. You bring some foams for them around. And then normally you just have this thing full of different ammos. And this thing can hold a lot of ammo. All this stuff fell out, but normally it's sitting into this last deal like that. So then you have all your ammo and your guns. You have your first aid and your targets. And then another bag with like water and support gear. So it's a long-winded range bag tour.
No, that's good. That's similar to mine. It's got the double zipper outside pocket. And it's got mag holders, and I can fit 1 or 2 guns in this outside. 2 end pockets. One I'll use for brass, the other one for whatever else I want to carry. Notepad, tape. I think it's empty right now. Oh, it's got a magazine. CHP mag. It's kind of hard to see. I know inside there's a padded divider so I can keep another gun, and then just a big open space. And apparently I left some 44 mag in here, but I'll take speed loader, which I don't ever use. This is one of the Uplulas, which are really nice and they work really well.
Yeah, I like those too.
I don't use them. I still don't have a problem with just using my thumb. It's usually faster.
Well, it depends. If you're at a competition or a class where you need to get them stacked, stuffed quick,
Oh yeah,
then they can be useful. And then the other thing is if you're paying attention to other shooters or the instructor or something, it just takes your mind off of it. You can pay less attention when you've got something like that to help out.
yeah. I'll usually, usually it's just me or I'm with somebody else, and um, I'll load all my mags when I go, but then loading the mags in between shooting will help slow me down, so I don't get into just going out and shooting everything real fast. So I slow down, kind of take my time, work on skills instead of just blasting away.
It's like when
people,
you make a barbecue and you don't want to just gobble it down. You want to take some time
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I got a little for foam earplugs. I've got two, but I put one on my rifle bag.
I actually load up with those foam earplugs. I actually normally, if I can find the reusable rubber ones for $1 or $2 while I'm out and about, I'll normally buy a bunch of those too and throw them in my bag. Then when I'm at the range, if anybody's like, "Oh, I forgot ears," cool, here you go, and they're reusable, so keep them.
Yeah, I
Have
do
Yeah,
the same. Send them on their way with them as well.
I bring them just as backup, or if somebody wants to double up, because usually I'll bring.
Yep.
The electronic ones are so nice to have, because you can hear each other talking normally. You're not having to shout at each other. And like these ones are the Howard Light, however you pronounce it. They're like $50, and they work really well.
Nice.
I really like these.
I have
I
walkers.
just have the next, I guess, a different model of the Howard lights that have the thing where you can plug in like a radio.
Oh yeah, you can plug in on those. I've never done it just because I don't want. I want to be able to hear something. That you can get into the music too much. So if something happens near you, I want to be able for sure to hear it.
Oh, well, we used them for the two ways at the range. So that
Oh
way,
yeah.
even with stuff going on, you got your ability to chat with people.
Nice. I like that.
And
I
then
check out a pair of
also,
those.
as a range safety officer, it's super nice to have those because you can hear people saying stuff, or just at a regular range. If you hear somebody going, "Hey, what's this? How come this isn't working?" Or "Let me see," those kind of things, you can turn around and look and make sure they're not muzzling anybody.
Yep.
PNW Woods is out there. Good evening.
Yeah, it's a good-
PNW Woods is about 20 minutes north of me.
Also, Foss, I'm with you on the Uplulas. I've got one. I've used it. I really like it. But for some reason, I just always resort back to just, loading traditionally with my thumb. But I feel like if I would just stick to using it more, because I always feel like I'm loading faster just the traditional way. But I feel like if
Yeah.
I were to actually take the time and use it more, I'd probably end up being faster with the Uplula.
I prefer to use them, especially the advance of arthritis in my hands. It's just
Yeah.
far, far, far easier.
I'm not that old yet.
Don't
You
have to
will
be
be.
old to have arthritis.
He's worn out his wrist.
Michelle.
I actually have arthritis in my. Well, when I was 20, I was told that I have arthritis in my left knee, and that my right knee was not far behind. The outer part of my left knee is actually bone on bone. There's no cartilage there. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, but they gave me a shot of cortisone, and it's never bothered me since. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep living life at that point. I'm not gonna pay no mind to it. Eventually, I'm sure one day I'm just gonna wake up and it's gonna be excruciating. I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna have to go get into one of them cortisone shots.
Yeah, I had it was a few years ago now. I check up at the doctor's, and he's having me move this and that. That's all popping and cracking, and he goes, "Oh, you got some arthritis there, don't you?" Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've also got the first aid kit, but I keep that in the car, and I really should have one to take in with me with my bag.
I have a
And there-
former
The
British
worst thing
Army
that happens-
IPAC that I pack on. It's strapped to the front of my range bag, so it's like always with me. And I started carrying a separate one just last year for the car specific. So yeah.
So when going to the range, does anybody change their wardrobe? If I'm normally just going out and about, everyday life, I'm normally in a pair of blue jeans. However, if I'm going to the range, a lot of times I will wear a pair of BDUs, and then because like Foster was just talking about having that first aid kit, which I'm not too worried about having the first aid kit at the bench. If something happens to somebody else, I could run to the vehicle and grab the first aid kit out. But say I was downrange changing a target, somebody wasn't paying attention, something happened, and I get whacked downrange. Well, I'm not making it to my vehicle to get my first aid kit, nor do I want to rely on somebody else to hopefully have one. So I'll wear a pair of BDUs and have an IFAC in it.
Nice touch. Love those cargo pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Met a Tupperware saying he can't load past about 8 rounds. So he likes to use the loaders.
Yeah. They're real good for the last round in some mags. Makes it
Yeah.
easier.
Well, they keep your hands from getting fatigued. So if you're a
Yeah.
competition shooter,
Mhm.
you don't want your hand all worn out either. But so yeah, they only need them for a couple of rounds. But if they save your thumbs for the rest of the day, because you're not, you're putting almost no stress on anything. Because I push that thing against me. I don't even use hands. I'm using mittens. Like I push the loader against my chest and drop rounds into it. Like I don't hold it in front of me. Like I'm using arms, not hands on that thing.
I had a 32 round fun stick for my Beretta 92, and the last couple rounds on that were just obnoxious. Once I got the Uplula for that, I was like, oh, this is so much better.
Can confirm. Can confirm.
So as far as the first aid kit, start thinking of a trauma kit separate than a first aid kit, because a first aid kit has aspirins and Band-Aids and stuff for boo-boos.
Yeah.
And you need that, especially with kids and just being a good person. Being able to help people is one thing, but a trauma kit just stops blood. It just stops blood. It just helps blood clot. That's it. And I wouldn't go nuts with like 100 different things just because they exist. Clean bandages is all you really need, and maybe a tourniquet. Really, a tourniquet to help hold the bandages. You're never going to go wrong with a tourniquet and a bunch of clean bandages, and that is all you need. And that can be, I would recommend an ankle holster, either opposite of a gun holster. If you're wearing a gun on one side, it's nice to have something on the other side, and having a tourniquet and some gauze on that side is very lightweight. You just have to get accustomed to having a thing on your ankle, which you'll forget about after a while. And then, I mean, whatever peace of mind people like to claim they have for a gun, which is a lightning strike in a person's lifetime, potentially, think about how often you could help someone who's had a problem, a hurt, an injury.
Mhm.
And, okay, well, I'm going to use this $16 gauze or something on an injury. Well, sometimes who cares about $16? And if I can help somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
let me grab this gauze, and it rotates your gauze out of there. So now you got a reason to go buy some new gauze or grab a new one out of the shelf or whatever, drawer. Anyway, think of a trauma kit separate than a first aid kit, and think about keeping a trauma kit small and on you all the time. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to change pants and all that, but I see what you're saying. But anyway, just gauze and a tourniquet is pretty much, and I like the rubber band. The SWAT tourniquets are like the size of a pack of cigarettes, and then a gauze, and they're basically like carrying on a pack of cigarettes or two.
So I like where you just went with that, G, because there's one item in these trauma kits that I hear people talk about all the time, and I think they're highly overrated. So before I say what that is, what do you think is one of the most highly overrated items in these trauma kits that are people?
Everything.
Well, yeah, but if you had to pick one
Especially,
thing.
Well, there's two things, and that's the chest seal. Another
Yes.
thing would be the whatever that stuff is, quick clot. So quick clot and chest seals are awesome for paramedics, and they're nice to have, but they cost too much and they break too easy, and they're not necessarily all the time, and you don't know how to use them. So
Exactly.
there's no point in carrying them around. Have them in the car, have them in your range bag, but carrying it around is just a waste of time.
I had a good friend, or have a good friend, who was doc in the Army, and we were talking the one day, and chest seals were mentioned. He's like, "Why would you need that?"
Chest
Like,
seals used to cost $35. Now they cost like $2 or something, or $5.
Yeah,
So it's a lot
but
different when they cost $5. When they used to cost $35 and they were packaged for paramedics, so they would break in your trauma kits and your first aid kits. You would have to fold them and break them. That's a bad. When they're 2022 and they make them specifically for everyday carry, it's harder to complain about them because it is just a piece of plastic for the most part. And it
yeah,
can
but
do
his
something
argument
inside
was
fast enough.
unless you have a good amount of experience applying those in the first place, when you're trying to take something that's adhesive and applying it to a chest wound that is just pouring out bodily fluids, it's not sticking for shit. You got to get all that wiped off, get it I was like, oh, all right.
Well, then you only need them for tension pneumothorax or something. So it's like a thing that happens, but it doesn't happen enough that it happens a lot when you're getting shot at. But when you're not getting shot at, it doesn't happen that much. So it gets to the theory of, are you carrying for what actually happens, or are you carrying for what might happen? And if you're carrying for what might happen, what scenario, what rules of engagement, who are you talking about? What scenarios are you talking about? Because
Mhm.
police and law enforcement and military all have different scenarios than everyday carry. And that's different if you live in a city or a place with rural and how close are you. So it gets into a whole bunch of stuff. But
Yep. But yeah, that was going to be my number one was chest seals. Oh, while we're back
Yeah,
on
I don't have
medical
any
talk,
of that. If I get shot, I'm dead. I got my belt. That's all I got.
that's half time. All you need is stop bleeding. Belt can help.
but while we're back on the medical topic, I meant to ask Foss, with your CPR and AED training, when you went to the AED stuff, did you happen to raise your hand high in the air, scream "live, damn it," and then when it said, hit the button, hit the button? Back when I was working corrections, I actually knew the lieutenant outside of the facility. She was good friends with my cousin, and she kind of warned me, like, don't fuck around today, Burger. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Fuss. I just said bad words on your show. But that's what she had said to me. I was like, okay, I won't. And so sure enough, I get to hit the button on the AED and I raise my finger high above and it's like, live, dang it, and smash it. And she's the one that's supposed to be teaching the entire course for the Red Cross and all that at the jail. And she gets up, leaves. You can see her laughing hysterically out in the hallway, comes back, regains her composure. It's a good time.
No, I did raise my hand, say clear, but that's not it. The guy
Is that from a movie? Live, damn it.
I'm trying to think what I saw it in.
I don't know. That's kind of like the scene from
Pulp Fiction.
no, the undersea one, with the alien, the water,
The Abyss
the abyss.
with Ed Harris.
You've never given up on anything in your life. Live, damn it. He's beating her in the chest.
Yeah. He starts slapping her.
Yeah.
How'd they film that?
I watched a
Oh,
5.5 hour long movie that's about all the movies from the 80s. So you really want to know? It was the first movie they filmed like that underwater, like all underwater. And then
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
the first
crazy.
one to have that CGI worm thing.
You know when they put the rat in the liquid breathing fluid stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
they
was
said,
real.
They said 4 of them died, and then the last one didn't.
See, they just got rid of the weak ones.
Yeah, but it was really liquid, whatever. I think
Yeah.
they said they were in the liquid for the movie, like that was real. They were breathing that liquid.
Yeah, the rats. Not
No, the
Ed
humans.
Harris, though. They faked.
No. Yeah, you're right. They put a suit that just the front went up or something.
Yeah, it was like a inner dome, and then it filled up the in-between.
But I think they were saying on that show that they felt like they were claustrophobic or whatever because that stuff felt like they were drowning or something.
Yeah. That was a good movie until about the last half hour. I didn't like the twist, but
I don't I don't really remember all of it that that well. I know I saw it. You know, I've seen it a few times, and I remember kind of the gist of the movie. But
Well, there's 3 of them. They all the other 2 copied off of it, so now I'm getting them all conflated.
Yeah, The Abyss was the one where. Should I ruin the ending?
yeah, I think it's been out long enough that you're not
Yeah.
spoiling it.
There was like aliens under the sea, and they were gonna
Yeah.
kill humans with a huge tsunami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Oh,
they
I forgot about that.
stopped.
I knew there was aliens, but I forgot what their point was.
They stopped it at the last minute.
Yeah.
But they had that worm made out of water. That
Yep.
was the I think. No, it wasn't the first CGI. You know what the first CGI was in a movie? It was a different sci-fi movie, but that was the first time they used that kind of CGI to make the.
Was it Westworld?
Oh no, the old Westworld, like back in the
Yeah.
day. No.
Yul Brynner's vision.
Oh no, that must have been
No.
something else because they
Still
say the
damn
first CGI was a different one. At least what I've heard from multiple sources, this first CGI was a different movie. I didn't like the movie that much. A lot of people, I think, liked it.
Which movie?
Okay, it's the one where the spaceship looks like a seed, and it's a little kid driving it around. I think he finds it. I don't know.
Oh, the
Last Navigator?
Last
yeah.
Navigator.
Is that it?
Some
It
such.
looks like a chrome seed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He flies around. Yeah, that movie.
Or Flight of the Navigator. I think I got it correct on that one.
Yeah.
There we go. A little closer.
I think I was like in high school, and that was a little kid movie, so I never really seen it.
I didn't see.
Maybe
I
did watch it.
saw like bits and pieces of it, but I never watched the whole thing. Sergeant Joe Smith is out there. Good evening, sir.
One of those sci-fi movies that I can revisit again and again. The first 2 Alien movies. I don't get tired of them. Know almost all the lines, particularly from the second one. Got to see that one in the theater for sure, and I enjoy both of those consistently.
Yeah.
And the basis of the creatures on the H.R. Giger work. Love that artist.
That's one of the few movies where I would say that the sequel was a little better than the original. That and Wrath of Khan.
Oh yeah, you didn't have to work too hard to beat out the first one. That whole V'ger concept, and there were both of those films. Were kind of thing where it's more about tension. It's more about the longest pauses possible. But yeah, Star Trek the original reminded me of having to sit through that other Kubrick film.
Have fun at work, Sharon.
Yeah, it took them like a half an hour to just do shots of the ship outside before they got into the Enterprise. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was okay with the original Star Trek. You know, it's not great, but
It's not an action movie; it's a sci-fi movie, and
What-
like Dune. People get upset because it's not like action.
Star Trek was supposed to be more intellectual. It's not like the TV show. The first season covered, the topics it covered was social stuff going on, like the race relations and stuff like that. And then second season, it became Monster of the Week.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool that they decided to do treatments like that. That Roddenberry and the team were doing social issues through sci-fi. I mean, that was great. Uhura, that was the first
And
kiss.
Do you know how
That's
Star
what-
Trek happened? Do you know who made it so Star Trek happened? Otherwise, it would have never happened.
Lucille
No, sir.
Ball.
Okay, everybody knows that.
I didn't. That's nice.
Some people have a problem with the new Star Trek, the
Discovery.
Kelvin. Well, Discovery is a whole other crap load, but the Kelvin series, the reboot, because it
The
became
new movies, you mean?
it became an action movie rather than being as thoughtful as it was.
Yeah, I don't enjoy the new ones.
I do. They're just not the same. I don't love Star Trek like some things, so I'm okay with, it doesn't bother me to mess with this show. But so I can understand people that don't like it. But I hated them at first, but now that I've watched them like 100 times, they're visually way better. And the costumes and visuals and stuff are so much better that I keep watching them, but now I kind of like them. So I just think
I,
it's kind of
I
like
like
Battlestar.
them,
I
but
hated it, and now I like it a lot.
I'll say I enjoyed them, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
For
I keep
sure.
them
I was just
separate.
glad.
I think of it as a new thing, separate. Like it has nothing to do with the first.
Yeah, I was just glad to see them, continue on in that franchise. I mean, I'll take whatever they got. And was, I was pleased with the action aspects kind of thing. But original cast, it was great to see them do as many iterations as they did with them. I really did enjoy those as well.
I don't like everything Star Trek. That's the thing, and definitely don't like everything Star Wars. So I don't go with that anymore. I used to when there was only like 2 Star Wars movies. I was like, we want it all. Give us more, more, more. But now that they've given us so much, it's like saturated on both sides. I'm well, I don't mind if they make it. I just don't like every single thing.
I have watched them all because I'm a sucker, and I will probably continue watching them. I don't enjoy them. Not the new what they're doing. From your tactical quiz, Rogue One is the exception. I love that movie.
Oh, Rogue One is one of my favorite movies, and it is Star Wars, but that's like an extra bonus whipped cream at the end, right? Like it's a good movie, and then there's Darth Vader at the end. Like, oh man,
yeah, that kicked ass. I stole that. He used it for one of the intros that I do. Just because
it is funny to see that fight and then watch him fight Obi-Wan Kenobi in episode 4 and be like, huh, that's the same guy?
Well, you have to remember that it's one of the things that drives me crazy is when people talk about stuff from newer movies or, newer canon, and then they'll say, well, why don't they, why is it different then? Well, it's because that was written first, way before they ever thought of doing this. That's why, they try and use what's happening now to explain, compare and contrast with, what came first. They had no inklings of what is happening now. That's why there's continuity differences. That's one of the things that really drives me crazy is when people complain about continuity between a new movie and the movie from the 70s. Well, he wrote the first movie and kind of had an idea for the other 2 movies, but had no concept of anything that's happening now. So you cannot use what's happening now, and what happened then.
I think I figured out how to bug you now. Just talk about continuity errors in Star Wars.
Part you'll see it online, but part of that is just people filling a page because they need to put something out every day.
Well, here's something I've found talking about these kind of movies and stuff over the years is that especially when you talk to the youngins, like I have to incorporate when like 1984 was a year and I existed then and I was a youngin. And when they dropped those movies on us during the Cold War in 1986 and 1982, like there was some good movies that happened in the 80s. And that was all all this garbage. Like you weren't just, the people today can't appreciate what it was like to not just have everything on demand. So you're sitting there living your life and there could never be another Star Wars. And then there's going to be another Star Wars. You didn't go, oh man, you know what I mean? Like it took years before we started to be like picky about it. Like people don't appreciate that aspect, I don't think. And I don't know. I think that's just, overlooked conversations. People like, oh, I don't like that. And it's like, oh, come on. We like so much more about this movie than just the visual effects or just the special effects compared to now or just the storyline or whatever these like elements.
Well, and the gaps between films were so much larger. If we're going to talk about this about Star Wars for just a second, I caught on one of my retro channels, YouTube subscriptions, a guy had dug out his a cassette tape with a little picture book where you followed along, and like that was what you did in between. You would look at the book or look at the album art, listen to the soundtrack. All those things were in anticipation of the next one to come, kind of thing. So by the time Jedi came out, I was just like, yeah, this is where it should have been going. I never thought they were going to go back to the other episodes, and so they've been a little bit disappointing. And the pre-story is great, visually they're more striking, but maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe it's kind of a case of being an old fart. But I got to dig the original 3.
Yeah, and then kind of younger generations will look at those older movies and then see they're not as sophisticated, not as the special effects aren't as great, but you have to take into account the technology of the time.
Well, even the plots aren't as fancy, but they weren't weaving 6 movies together because they only had their
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Because I like watching old movies, back to black and white movies, because I can watch them, enjoy them for what they are, understanding the time they were made, and a lot of people can't do that. Which that's up to them.
Well, we do the same thing. I can remember watching movies in black and white and going, I don't want to watch this old black and white movie when I could watch, Terminator. But by the time VCRs came out, I didn't watch nothing old. You know what I mean? I was like kids are today, like what I'm complaining about now. Like I was exactly like that since VCRs. I literally wore the ribbon out on a Terminator VHS tape because I would just play that freaking Terminator movie all the freaking time. It was the best. Well, it is one of the best movies ever made.
I'll say for one of the exceptions would be 2001: A Space Odyssey, because that was 69, 1969, and it I think still holds up today.
Oh, definitely.
And then Planet of the Apes, that was also 69, which I love that movie.
There's people that like action movies set in a sci-fi, and then there's people that like sci-fi movies, right? And they're not the same.
And then with Planet of the Apes, it was actually Dr. Dolittle that hurt Planet of the Apes, because when Dr. Dolittle came out, it bombed. So the studio was afraid of putting money into Planet of the Apes. So as they progressed, the budgets got smaller, but the profits still went up. Each movie made more money. So in the first one, everybody had good masks and stuff, and then as it progressed, it would be principal characters would have the good prosthetics, and then background characters would have monkey masks.
Yeah. I remember making those distinctions as well. Now, when you say Dr. Dolittle, are you talking about the Rex Harris? Is it Rex Harrison? Yeah. That's actually pretty damn good.
I've always liked it.
Me too.
We even had the record for it when I was a kid.
Yeah, we had the records for a ton of movies and stuff. I guess those were all movies now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I don't know if that was a thing or if my family just liked having the records from those songs from those movies and stuff.
Pink is out there.
Yeah, see that comment?
Vanessa Kitty.
See Pink's comment? He's saying that he found Highlander at the video store. That blew my mind. Yeah, I think he's old enough. Didn't you guys see Highlander at the movie theater?
I did. Really liked it.
I think I only ever saw it on TV.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
same
know. I
with
guess
me.
we're older than you. Barbecue's a youngin'. But yeah, I never even thought about that. Highlander, I guess. The thing is, I figure that there's another element of watching it on VHS that you don't get at the movies back in the day. Nowadays, people go to watch a movie, and they probably, especially if they want to, they know the whole movie, right? Like you can't go to a movie and not know what's up unless you try real hard to not to not hear about it. Back in the day, we didn't have any idea what a movie was going to be about, right? Like, what was the odds of your friend already being in the movie? Like, you know what I mean? You would go to a movie and you had no idea what that movie was going to be about. Maybe if the TV show, there was that one TV show where the fat dude and the little guy, or no, the fat dude and the tall dude.
Siegel and
Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert.
And if they didn't talk about it, you didn't know nothing about it. So that was a whole nother element. So going into Highlander, it was like, depending on your situation, it would be like a birthday party or some kind of an occasion or something happened. Maybe somebody got money for their birthday or something, at least for us. And then it would be like you'd get dropped off, or they'd let you go out after dark on the weekend, or usually on the weekend. And then you'd go to the mall where the movie theater was. And then it was like, we'll pick you up at what happened or be back home or something, like whatever, depending on the parents who, kind of depending on the situation. Anyway, you'd go to the movie on your own. And then it was just whatever you went to go see. So Highlander, I think we kind of knew it was going to be something with swords or whatever, but wow, I mean, that movie was just crazy different and blew us away. Like, I mean, I don't know. And at the time, I'm thinking there was nothing as crazy as that you went into it thinking, well, like I said, anyway, so that's what you don't get at VHS. You know, when somebody recommends a movie to you, oh, go watch this movie about this and that and the other thing. So when you go to rent it, you know what's coming. Highlander, I think half of it was, I'm going to just repeat myself, so, having the plot twist on you.
Well, the pre-release press coverage was different in those days as well. I mean, some of those films, you didn't even get to see a commercial. You got to see the poster as a coming attraction, coming soon poster, and try to glean your understanding of it from that, and maybe be titillated by a preview sort of thing. But not all of them had previews either. So yeah, it's definitely. I see it as a
have gone to a movie to see a preview or seen a preview of it, because half the time you see a preview of a movie you already seen or something.
Yeah, you got to ask the guy at the box office what movie you should watch. If you don't know, you don't know any of them.
I don't know if I ever did that. That's a good question.
No, you never did that?
I'm trying to think. Maybe at one of those places where there was like a whole bunch and you're just going there. When I was older, you'd go, like they made these movie theaters where there's like a 16-plex or whatever.
Yeah.
Like big room basically with a movie. Yeah, maybe it's some of those. I would say which one of these is good, because you're just going to, have something to do on a Friday or whatever.
The goddamn bacon's out there. Good evening.
Man, it's been a long time since I decided to head to a theater and just kind of go random picking, especially with, this is another old fart thing. I can't pay as much as it costs to go see a first run film anymore. Just, I won't separate it out from my wallet, because I'm considering that to be like half the price of a concert, a concert performance by a band, which is not going to be available on VHS kind of thing, or for DVD or replay or cable or whatever.
I'm trying to remember now. Was that the early 90s or mid 90s? Whenever the movie theaters here in Tucson, at least, those Googleplexes turned into $1 a movie, and then that's when we would just drive over there and see what was on. Like if we're like, let's go watch a movie, and half the time it'd be like if 4 or 5 of us went there, we might go to 2 different movies, because there's so many movies playing that you just like, okay, we'll see it when it's over at 10 or whatever.
Yeah, here in Omaha, when that first started, there were 3 theaters that were twin at 99 cents. One of them was, 2 of them were built specifically to be. The other one was one that was just 2 screens, and they weren't doing very well, so they bumped it down to try and generate business. At one point, there was an 8-plex and a 12-plex that were 99 cents. Neither one of them are still open, and none of them moved up in the. I take that back. Cinemark, I know that they run theaters across the nation. They still have an 8-plex out west, but I think the cost now is like $3 or something like that. I mean, it's still a bargain compared to the first run, and it is one of those things where they wait until everything's pretty much, they beat the dead horse out of whatever their prime ticket sales are going to be. It's on its way back to the distribution center.
Last time I went to a discount theater, I got in a fight.
Not enough butter, not enough pumps of butter on your popcorn.
Just
teenager,
drunk guy being noisy.
That's the issue. When you got a dollar theater, you're going to get all kinds of.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it was all the after. As a matter of fact, it was all the parking lot action that closed. There's one that was not far from my house. It was the newest one. It was an 8-plex, and it was all the it was kids fighting in the parking lot. Not so much the inside thing, but just hangers on outside. Cops were called all the time. Nobody wanted to bring their kids there. No one wanted to go there late night either. So that was one really unfortunate thing. And now that plaza is dead. It was the anchor business for a whole plaza, and the whole thing's dead. It's like maybe 2 businesses out of 12 in that strip, and the theater's empty.
So what was the last movie everybody has seen in the theater?
Took my nephew to see Jungle Book, the new one. That was the last one.
Mine was Solo. Total disappointment.
That was.
You didn't like Solo?
No, I did not.
The best character in it was Woody Harrelson.
Does it count as seeing it if you can't actually see it?
What do you mean?
That movie was so dark you couldn't see anything.
Oh yeah, no, it's not the best movie.
Well, one of the problems was you've got an unknown young guy who can't really act playing
Solo.
Yeah,
Luke
You know,
Skywalker.
comparing him to
Harrison Ford.
Harrison
really.
Ford.
Yeah, that's rough for anybody who would have filled those shoes. But like for those of us who, and I don't know if any of you cats have or anybody out in the chat, but they could have gone closer to the way that character was written in many of the novels, and I just felt like they missed their chance at trying to generate a completely fresh audience out, an audience out of the newcomers to those legacy films. Yeah.
Well, that from everything that I had heard leading up, that movie had huge problems where they reshot a lot of the movie. They brought in
Ron
Opie,
Howard.
yeah, Ron Howard, to reshoot the movie.
Should have brought in his daughter. She's doing a pretty good job.
I cannot remember the last movie I've seen. It had to be space. I wouldn't go watch anything that didn't have like a space battle because I wouldn't want to see anything big unless it was something interesting in sci-fi. Because I'm not going to go watch like a rom-com big or like a.
Would it be a Star Trek?
No, I don't like Star Trek enough to go see it. It would have to be like a. Would it have been? I should have gone and seen Spideyverse, whatever the Spideyverse movie was. I should have seen that. I bet you that would be good big. But no, I can't remember. I do remember the second to the last time I went, somebody was eating something with tinfoil behind me. And I was like, this is why I don't go to the movies. And I can still remember like the whole, enough of the movie to bother me, and then I know I went to one since then, but I just can't remember.
I think Rise of Skywalker was the last one I went to, or whatever that shit show of a movie was called.
I think there was something else besides a Star Trek, though. And if it was something like a book that was made into a movie, that I was impressed that they had made it into a movie, and it wouldn't have been. It's a Asimov movies is what I would think, or else. Anyway, so maybe if one of the, I can't think of it. It had to be a sci-fi though. I can't imagine going to see anything besides a sci-fi big.
So,
And the other thing is, I would go to a movie like on a Wednesday during school, so that there's almost no chance anybody even being there. So it's cheaper, during the first couple of movies are cheaper. And then you go on like a Wednesday or something where the kids ain't there. And then you almost get a movie theater yourself.
You were saying something, barbecue?
I was just gonna say, I was gonna say the last movie that I saw in a theater was Toy Story 4, but I just remembered that I actually went to see a movie called The Little Things last year. I think that had Denzel Washington in it. It was actually a really, really good movie, I thought.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I'm trying to think who else. I want to say it's Ryan Reynolds in it with him, which people are probably, that's Safe House. That movie sucked. But The Little Things, it might not be Ryan Reynolds who co-stars with Denzel Washington, but he plays this officer who has to go back upstate for whatever reason to get some evidence from another precinct. And while he's there, it's like his old
Rami Malek and Jared Leto.
Is that what it is? The two actors. I remember Jared Leto. Yeah.
So that's the guy from that robot show, and I don't know who that other guy is.
And he played Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
in that movie.
Guy? Is that
guy?
Who's the other guy? What did he do?
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
He played the Joker.
Played a crappy Joker.
Yeah, in the new DC movies. And what else is he in? He was in Lord of War. He played the brother. That was
he's the brother from Lord of War. That's why I knew him from. It's okay.
But yeah, so
it's basically a police movie, like a drama police movie.
Yeah, really, really good.
Okay.
It's got some twists and turns.
Said that's from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. It's good. I just forgot the name of it.
Like I said, a lot of twists and turns. You think that you're like, oh, all right, I got it figured out. And then you're like, oh, snap, I didn't have it figured out. And then even with the end of it, you're like, oh, snap, got it. And then with like the very last scene, you're like, oh, that's not what I thought at all. Because I really don't want to give it away. I realize how vague all those things are that I'm saying.
Yeah, no, don't.
Watch it. It's worth it. I got a question for the panel. What's the worst thing you had somebody eat next to you in a theater?
Oh man, that thing in tinfoil. I'll bet you something that smells that would be bad too.
I feel
I
like a
had
banana would
somebody
probably
eating
be
it.
the worst.
A salami and cheese next to me at the Dark Knight premiere.
Oh wow.
Like a sandwich.
Yeah, it was a Scottish lady, and she had a knife, and she was cutting salami and cutting cheese and eating it the entire movie, and it
Oh, that's
friggin'
awesome.
stunk. It
Probably
was
better than
Oh,
if she had
someone just
haggis.
like eating hanks of it off of a literal tube of salami. And
yeah, it was a tube of salami. She pulled it out of her
Nice.
purse like Mary Poppins and started cutting it. And I
Was she
was stuck
sharing it with
front
anybody?
row
She
corner,
just did it
and
by
she was
herself?
next to me. I had nowhere to go. It was the last seat.
I would have been like, "Can we have some of that cheese? Or I'm going to tell on you."
I don't
I
think
heard
I've-
though that they don't care anymore. You can bring food to movies now.
I've never had a problem with that. With somebody
I
eating.
can't say that I have either,
Yeah.
Bob.
I
Oh,
still
really?
think the worst
Lucky.
thing would be bananas, though.
Why is that?
Why?
You ever hear banana noises?
Oh, lip
Oh, you
smacking.
mean just all that gross banana eating? Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's just this natural noise that you make when you eat bananas, whether you mean to or not, because of the consistency and everything.
You know, but nowadays they got those movie theaters where people literally eat in them, and they don't do nothing to stop that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Except for the noise of the movie.
Yeah, they got a full bar and burger
And-
place. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
it
want
is.
to hear somebody drinking all the damn time. That would be pretty annoying.
Well, it's also pretty disruptive when they have servers coming bringing stuff out to people's table. You know, the little table things or whatever. It's like, down in front, for God's sake.
Wait, at a movie?
And
I've
in
never
that
seen
kind
that.
of theater, are those chairs on stacked still, or are you all sitting on one level looking up at a movie?
No, it's the ones here are like Alamo Draft House. It's like it's tiered, so it's like
Okay.
kind of like stadium seating sort of thing, but in like three distinct levels. And the rear
So
of the
somebody
theater
was getting
is
food- somebody getting at the food at the first level. They're not in your way. The person walking around isn't necessarily in your way. They're lower down.
yeah, it's first, second level. So really, it's only the third tier above, which is kind of like the cheap seats. Because you have to reserve the other spots unless they're open ones, and for like first runs where other people have treated me to those. Yeah, the majority of the theater is they want the food and beverage there, and they don't just want you bringing in popcorn or a salami, for God's sake.
Whatever the hell somebody was eating with tinfoil was the one that got me because they kept wiggling the tinfoil around.
Hot
Oh,
dog.
I got to admit,
A bag of
I was-
chips with that too.
I was pretty surprised when she pulled that out of her purse. I didn't see that coming.
That would have been a surprise for sure.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool, though.
haven't run into that again.
But nowadays too, whenever I mean, I don't go to movies very often at all. I mean, at all anymore. So that one, the same one with the person eating the tinfoil, there was some girl not watching the movie because she could care less. Obviously, it was a sci-fi movie, or else I wouldn't have been there. She must have just been there with her date or whatever. So she was playing on her phone, and she didn't want to bother her date. So she kept, you know what I mean? Like for her, she was shining her phone away from her date. So for me, I'm seeing her dang phone the whole time. You know, the light from her phone shining over like in your peripheral. That was pretty annoying.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't go to the theater anymore. Like the Star Wars, just because it's better on the huge screen. But I'd rather watch at home.
And with the THX system, I mean, all the innovations there have been in support sound in films. I mean, now you really are rumbling in a lot of those theaters. That's some incredible stuff there. And the stereo separation, quad separation. It's like, I really dig that.
I've been to a thing they used to do it here, and it's not necessarily a theater. It's more like a theater for a play, that kind of theater. Is it the same kind of theater? You know what I mean? I think it's still called a theater. I mean, but they would do a thing where they would play a movie on the screen and then do a laser show, and it was Pink Floyd with
Yeah.
what is it? Wizard of Oz. So they would play Wizard of Oz. There'd be a laser show. So the lasers were out in the stadium with you. So the lasers were shooting from you to the stage, and you know what I mean? Like it was fun.
Mhm.
And then smoke and everything. And you guys know that whatever it is, what song is it? Meshes up with
Yeah, you
You sync it up at the Lion's Roar. Yeah,
at the third
No.
roar you start the album.
Oh, well, whatever.
got it.
But what's the name of the song? I mean, I don't remember. Pink
Oh,
Floyd,
it's
The Wall? No.
no, it's Dark Side.
Dark Side of the Moon, the album. The
Yeah,
whole
it's-
album. The first time through the album kind of syncs up. The second time through sort of.
Oh no, it
I
syncs
almost
up.
syncs
At least
up.
the thing I went to, it was synced up. Like I don't know if they edited it or what. This is back in the '90s, but like I don't know. But anyway, that was a trip, and that was a multimedia type of situation. That was a lot of fun. And it was technically a movie, I guess, but it was like say in a theater, so they had different acoustics. I'm sure.
I had a
I
friend
really-
who had it on VHS.
I can remember when I first saw the upload of that on YouTube. It came up in a conversation, and someone had done it for you. I downloaded and burned that damn thing, and was pleased not to have to sync it up. And that first track is it starts out with the noise track, and it's "Speak to Me." That's the song "Breathe." That's the lead track on Dark Side, I think.
I think it's the whole movie, so it must be the whole side of the thing. I mean, the whole album.
And what
yeah,
about
the
like,
album? I think plays twice for the whole movie.
Oh, okay. And it syncs up. I mean, it's neat.
Yeah,
And then the other
speaking-
thing is your brain just makes things happen. But I mean, like money and stuff, like it all syncs up good.
like shockingly, and like who was the first person to do that? Like, is that some kind of serendipitous event, or does somebody
No, they
sit
did it.
around and like play until they find something that matches?
I think somebody was on the inside and
No, they
knew
made it that way. They
he
watched
did
the
that.
movie when they were playing.
Hmm.
I think I've seen a thing about that.
What about planetarium shows? Like when you were when you were talking about laser shows and music and stuff. There's a planetarium here in town, a small one that they still do laser music nights. Those are pretty freaking trippy.
I think they took that away, but yeah, it was just a planetarium, and then it went into the Pink Floyd Laser Light Show Planetarium on Fridays and Saturdays, and those were awesome on U of A. And then it went back to, I don't know if it's even a planetarium anymore because that land is pretty valuable. I just drove by the U of A the other day, and it's every time I go by there, it's like watching Sim City. It just gets gianter and gianter. So I don't know if that's still there, but yeah, man, that was pretty cool back in the day. 360-degree planetarium. U of A is like a big astronomy place, so I'm sure I've only been to so many of those planetariums, but theirs was the biggest I've been to.
Is it bigger than the Adler? Adler in Chicago, the Adler Planetarium. That's the biggest one I've been in. Man, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I guess that was such a long time ago. It's hard to say. You're right.
Yeah.
That's probably way bigger. That's a whole town, a whole city of Chicago, and that was built for a World's Fair, where this is just for a university. But that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I can remember being at a show in the '80s. I don't remember what the program was, but I most certainly remember the album that they were using. It was more. It wasn't like an educational one so much as it was, come in and watch, the movement of the heavens kind of thing. It was Jean-Michel Jarre's Oxygen album, instrumental, incredible, early synth. I mean, you can say all you want bad about the French, but that album and that man, incredibly good stuff out there. Competitive with Giorgio Moroder when it comes to early EDM music. Dig it.
Well, wouldn't you know? There's a list that tells you where the largest planetariums are.
I've never been to a planetarium. I've been outside and looked up at the stars, but
Well, that's the biggest one, I guess. You know what it is, though, right?
There you go.
yeah,
You've seen them in movies or whatever.
yeah.
It's worth going. I mean, I'd highly recommend it. It's super neat.
I don't know. I'd have to look up. I don't know if there's anyone even close to me.
For what it's worth, the one DJ talked about is number 6 out of 10, and the one here is not even on the list. So
We got to have a planetarium experience in our junior high. The Area Education Association, they had an inflatable one, an inflatable dome, and it had the camera set up in the center with the pre-recorded program. Yeah.
that would
That would
be
be-
actually pretty neat, like a bouncy house type of thing. You blow air in there.
Yep.
And then have it on the inside. Oh, that'd be neat.
Yeah, it was great. It was on the gym floor. It was big. It was big enough that one of those units would have been like 40, 50 kids.
With the
And we were
inside.
comfortable inside it. Yeah. Inside and inside, for sure.
I guess that makes sense. So then you could just pop it up inside of any gym.
So let me do that. Let me do this while I'm thinking about it.
Nice spot, Foss.
Yeah, right on. That was pretty cool.
That was tight. And that soundtrack, that sound pad you got going on there, that Free Patch Friday girl on the motorbike, that felt like totally retro go-go 60s, 70s.
Well, it seemed, the picture is G-Webs, but the music just seemed fitting for that.
Yeah,
That's
excellent.
what G-Webs looks like.
That's a
They throw the leg over a motorbike.
I was standing there on a motorbike, and this guy was drawing pictures, and that's what happened.
Gotcha.
So, anybody that orders anything this evening, thanks to Foss, will now get extra loot included. Thanks for that promo. In
Sweet.
case it encourages anybody to buy anything, it would be appreciated.
Oh,
I'll show
so
you after chat. Are you gonna? Is that the goal? Is to put an after chat link out, or are you just shutting it down?
probably just gonna shut her down here.
I'll show these guys in the after chat. One of the new things I'm working on.
And so, is there anything anybody wants to plug? Barbecue? What you got going on? Are you there,
A nap.
Barbecue?
He's got a nap going on.
Are you there, Barbecue? Hello? Hello? Have you fallen and can't get up?
Barbecue said he was doing something about slathering something on meat or slicing meat or doing some kind of meat
Beating
preparation.
his meat?
It's
Sorry
always
about that.
beef related.
There it is.
Yeah,
Did-
I'm in the
did you wash
process
your
of
hands?
carving a brisket. I did. That's actually one reason it took me so long to get back.
Is there a bone in a brisket?
No.
Did you bring it up for everyone?
If you all want to come over, it's a 22-pound brisket. It's probably only
Yeah.
going to be about 17 or 18 pounds by the time I get done trimming it. But yeah, it's pretty big.
I didn't want to spoil it, but since you mentioned it, if you look underneath your chair, everyone at home, you've got a brisket. It's underneath your chair.
You've got
right
a
now.
brisket, and you've got a brisket.
Everybody gets a brisket.
Yay! So, what you got going on there, Barbecue?
Well, I had a two-way Wednesday tonight. If you folks missed that, please go check that out. That was with Mary Forges and Brooke Cheney of DC Project Connecticut. They are the director and assistant director, so be sure to check that out, especially if you are familiar with Brooke being the director. She's the assistant director now. That kind of gets explained in there. Really fun story with that. And man, Mary is absolutely incredible. Total rock star. I can definitely see why she is now the director. I'm not going to, again, give away why she's the director now, but go watch the episode, find out. Then just the typical stuff. Really appreciate the invite tonight, Foss. This was a great time. And folks, be sure to, if you are for some reason catching this in replay and watching all the way to the end and you're not subscribed to Foss already, go do it. He's an amazing guy.
Well, thank you. Thank you for showing up.
It probably means they left autoplay on and are not in the room.
Yeah.
They were drunk. It's not their fault. DJ, so when is that Down the Rabbit Hole podcast going to start?
Wow, that wouldn't be such a bad name for one. Not sure about that, boss, but still under advisement, and we'll let you know as soon as that happens. Until then, what I've got to offer is what I usually do. Be safe, have fun, carry your guns, and always rock.
G-Webs? Got anything you want to promote?
Yeah, thanks for the link to the first of your what do you call this? The mouse party. So I'm curious to see what people think. I don't know if you're about to ask that or not, but this is cool having a kind of an alt chat in the evening for the folks that are awake at night. So yeah, thanks for the invite.
Oh, no problem. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been out in the side chat. Seven Wonders, Goddamn Bacon, Pink Panther, Vanessa Kitty, Sergeant Joe Smith, PNW Woods. Did I say Seven Wonders? I don't know. I got lost
Yeah.
already. Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog, Two Live Moo, the Moobies himself. And who else was out there? So I know there were a couple more people that were way up there. And way up there. Way up there.
Pink.
Pink Panther. And wow.
Night Shaft was here.
Was he?
Telos.
I missed him. I'm sorry, Night Shaft.
Burnaby.
Telos, Burnaby Sanchez,
Tupperware.
Men of Tupperware,
Oh, Ozzy.
Ozzy
Way ahead of
Osbourne, Mario Mosen,
Oh, Sharon.
Sharon Hinchcliffe, also Gunpowder Beauty. Really need to tighten this up a little bit, I think. So if I missed you, I really do apologize. And I appreciate you for
He
being
missed
out
me,
there.
actually.
I do miss you when you're gone. So we're still kind of working this out. We just kind of jumped in and got going. So we'll try and tighten up things here and there. And I don't really have an outro. I didn't think about making one, so we'll just replay the intro. And I want to say thanks for showing up, and everybody have a rocking night.